Hi there everyone, welcome on board another informative Jamaica Magazine journey. I'm your host, Theodore Henry. The beginning of a new year often lends itself to reflection and the drafting of resolutions on how to move ahead. Now we'll be doing some of that in this half-hour package lined up just for you, but first we'll have our news of the day. You can't miss any of it, so stay with us.
Your key to your new house. We want to give this opportunity to all Jamaicans who are in need of it. Today is a good day for Portmore and Jamaica.
Good day, I'm Twyla Whelan, and this is your JS News for Monday, January 6, 2025. 96 farm workers, 12 of whom are first-timers, departed Jamaica for Canada under the Seasonal Agriculture Workers Program on Friday. The workers will be assigned to agricultural operations across locations in Ontario and New Brunswick, such as Leamington, West Lorne, Thetford, Brantford, Northampton, Arkona, and Delhi. Minister of Labour and Social Security Pernell Charles Jr. was at the send-off ceremony at the Ministry's Overseas Employment Centre in Kingston.
I'm pleased today to be able to say that after 3 years of decline, we are now seeing an uptick in the numbers of farm workers traveling on the program, which is a positive thing. And it is a reflection of the hard work that is being put into ensuring that the program is sustainable.
Senior Trade Commissioner Michael Lazaruk, who spoke on behalf of the High Commissioner of Canada to Jamaica, Mark Berman, affirms Canada's commitment to collaborating with the Jamaican government and Canadian employers. This is to ensure the continued success and benefits of the program for all involved.
To the almost 100 workers departing for Canada today and the thousands more that will soon follow, I would like to say, Canada greatly values your hard work and the important contributions that you make year after year to our farms and by extension to our economy and our society.
Meanwhile, a total of 14,434 Jamaicans were placed in jobs abroad last year under the Ministry of Labour and Social Security's Overseas Employment Program. Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, Dion Jennings, revealed that of this amount, 8,255 workers, or 57%, travelled to Canada under the Seasonal Agricultural Workers Program. Ms. Jennings urged the departing workers to be exemplary ambassadors for Jamaica.
The only burden you bear in participating in this program is to ensure that you represent us well.
State Minister Dr. Norman Dunn, meanwhile, spoke of the program's benefits to participants.
First-timers, you have the legacy to carry on. You have to continue to fly the name of Jamaican workers high, because the Jamaican worker is known to be hardworking, disciplined, dedicated, and committed to his task and self-motivated. These qualities are not lost on the Canadian employer, and so they continue to participate in this program, requesting persons to return year after year.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says his administration will be making several policy and legislative changes to streamline procurement, permits and approvals across government. This is to facilitate the ease, speed and cost of doing business. Those plans were shared in his recent New Year's message.
Many of the obstacles faced by businesses and citizens doing business are old legacy requirements whose relevance have expired, but their continued existence has never been questioned.
The Prime Minister spoke extensively on the reform process to reducing red tape and bureaucracy at the launch of the next chapter growth agenda dubbed Aspire. Dr. Holness says regulatory and tax processes will be streamlined to encourage investments and simplify operations for businesses of all sizes. He says a new EPOC, the Efficiency Program Oversight Committee, will be introduced to drive progress.
We must re-engineer our processes to ensure that they are fit for purpose, streamlined, responsive, and able to meet the needs of a modern, growing economy.
And finally, students across several high schools benefited recently from a mathematics camp organized by the Ministry of Education, Youth, Skills and Information. The aim is to help prepare students for the upcoming Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate (CSEC) exams and also improve the pass rate for math. Held from December 16 to 19, the camp focused on key mathematical concepts and problem-solving techniques, providing hands-on experience and personalized instruction. Portfolio Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon engaged the students at the Tarrant High School, where only 11% of fifth-form students passed math in the 2023 CSEC exams. The national pass rate is 39%, and Minister Morris-Dixon says she is hoping the initiative will help boost student success in future exams.
In maths, there is reasoning, and it helps your brain to think in a particular way. When you're thinking about the algebra part of maths, it's really just simplifying some of the bigger elements that you are seeing. And so if you see the letters, don't let that stop you from understanding the maths, because what you've done is that you've just moved from this to this.
The Education Minister says the camp is part of the National School Learning and Intervention Plan, which benefits 56 schools across the island. Meanwhile, Tarrant High School says it will host its annual 2-week Easter Mathematics Camp next term to provide further assistance. And that's it for JS News Today. I'm Twyla Whelan. Thanks for watching.
Flu season is here. Let's fight the flu with these tips. Stay up to date with recommended flu vaccines. Practice good hygiene, that is frequent hand washing and sanitizing, covering your mouth and nose when sneezing, and sanitizing frequently touched surfaces. You're also encouraged to eat a balanced diet, take vitamin and mineral supplements, stay hydrated, and stay away from persons displaying flu-like symptoms. Protect yourself this flu season.
Government through the Office of the Prime Minister had a lot to celebrate in 2024. Among its many achievements, a new growth agenda, housing solutions, skills training, and tradesmanship opportunities. Let's review these achievements in the past 366 days of 2024.
I am happy to officially commence the build-out of the Portmore Resilience Park.
The mission of the government for the next 5 years, well, it's a long-term mission. It's focused on peace, productivity, prosperity.
Today, we launched the board of NIRA, the National Identification Registration Authority, another important milestone in national identification. Effective July 1st, 2024, the NHT will revise its home improvement loan policy, expand its home grants to include the installation of solar panel systems. Contributors will now be able to access a new loan product, the Smart Energy Home Improvement Loan. The NHT will develop one-bedroom apartment complexes, particularly within or near urban centers, as starter homes. The NHT will develop housing targeted to workers in strategic areas in health, security, education, and tourism. Reserve up to 10% of the housing solutions in the current housing plan for under 35-year-old contributors. Offer relief from interest and penalties on outstanding contributions. The Hart NSTA Trust will introduce the Community Action for Rewarding Engagement initiative. Every successful graduate of a Level 4 trade program will receive a grant of $50,000 to help them acquire the tools of their trade and to step up to the next stage of their career. The Development Bank of Jamaica has introduced the Trade Person Ownership Opportunity Loan. I'm pleased to announce that the government will establish the Jamaica 60 Hope for Children Trust Fund. I am pleased to declare Jamaica as a STEM island. This is a major part of wealth creation for families, but more so, it is the creation of intergenerational wealth.
The duties required of this position as a member of the executive. I take those duties seriously.
As a country, we must be prepared.
The government will act in a speedy way to assist the recovery process.
So the instant help with tarpaulins, with water supply, small packets, care packets that could have water and food. It is important that the government creates a space where the corporate philanthropy and the civil society philanthropy can be coordinated and organized. We are coordinating the continued distribution of food, water, medical sundries, and other essentials to citizens in the most affected areas. Based on the damage assessments received to date, an allocation of $1 billion Jamaican dollars has been made towards providing grants and assistance for restoration, reconstruction, and relocation. And the NHD will contribute $200 million. The title is more than just your certificate of ownership. Today, the government is able to respond with a much greater quantum of assistance than before. The work of the DRMRC is not just about addressing the immediate risks posed by disasters, but about building a culture of resilience in Jamaica that prepares us for the future. We have an obligation to protect the interests of future generations by giving life to the Declaration. Our discussions touched a range of issues of mutual interest, including health, agriculture, digital transformation, film, education, sports, tourism, and many other subjects. I'm very pleased to announce that the government has done their preliminary work and will be moving forward with the legal process to introduce a new national honor, the Order of National Icon. Today, I'm pleased to have been the second person to receive the National ID card, the first being His Excellency, the Governor General.
The tagline we are using for this next chapter is Aspire Jamaica. This chapter is about bold action, shared responsibility, and unyielding ambition with visionary leadership. Together, we will create a Jamaica that is not only stable, but thriving.
The new year comes with new possibilities and goals to achieve. And in this next feature, we'll look at an example of how persons can shed the dark aspect of their past by getting an expunged record to become the person they want to be. A justice of the peace, maybe?
Imagine you've to turn your life around after a mistake that led to a criminal record. The slate has been wiped clean through the process of expungement. But now, you are faced with a new challenge, a desire to serve your community as a Justice of the Peace JP. However, one question lingers in the back of your mind. Will my past, though officially legally erased, still haunt my future? Let's find out. But first, who is a Justice of the Peace and what is meant by the term expungement? A Justice of the Peace, commonly referred to as a JP, is a person of unquestionable integrity who seeks to promote and protect the rights of individuals. JPs are essential figures in the community, serving in various capacities that include witnessing documents, serving as lay magistrates, and playing crucial roles in the legal and judicial system. Now let's talk about expungement. This term refers to the process of having a conviction removed from one's criminal or police record after a specific period has elapsed and certain requirements have been met. It's a legal way to ensure that past mistakes don't define your future. If you're looking to become a JP, here's the first step in the application process.
You may apply by first going on the Ministry of Justice's website at moj.gov.jm, and you can download the application to become a Justice of the Peace. If you do not have access to the internet, then you may visit the custos in your parish and access a form. We also have the application forms at our justice centers, or you may come to the Ministry of Justice at 61 Constant Spring Road to get an application form.
Once you have the application form, you'll need to gather the necessary documents.
So you have to be able to establish your age, your date of birth. And so you need your birth certificate. If it is that you have a name change, you may need to provide, for example, if you have gotten married, a marriage certificate, or if you have done a depol. And so you may have to take the necessary steps just to make sure that the official name that you carry is validated through these instruments. So you should have a copy of those to be provided to the ministry through your custos.
You will also have to obtain 2 letters of recommendation. You may get the letters of recommendation from a Justice of the Peace or a police officer at the rank of superintendent upwards. A pastor of a church may also provide the recommendation. One crucial aspect of the application process is the declaration of any past criminal convictions.
But what the government of Jamaica has done through the Criminal Records Rehabilitation of Offenders Act under Section 25, what it speaks to on the legal status, and I prefer to read the exact language of it. It says, a rehabilitated person shall, in relation to any expunged conviction for all purposes in law, be deemed to be a person who has never been charged with, prosecuted for, convicted of, or sentenced for the offense to which that conviction relates. Once the record is expunged, there is no need for you to make that indication on the form.
So simply put, having an expunged record does not stop you from becoming a Justice of the Peace, but it's important to take the necessary steps to ensure you have a clean record.
And so even though the steps would have been taken, approval given, and the records are expunged. If they do not take the additional steps to pay to the criminal records to have a clean record, the possibility of traces and evidence of them having been convicted could have implication.
Assuming you've taken the proper steps and have a clean record, now with the JP application form completed and submitted to the relevant custos, what's next?
Now, once the custos is in receipt of the application form, that custos has an obligation to ensure a discreet inquiry utilizing a police officer from the rank of inspector upwards. And once the custos would have conducted a discreet inquiry on the applicant, then the custos, having been satisfied that that applicant has a potential to continue to serve in this community, is a person of integrity based on the content of his application form, then the custos will submit that application to what we call the Justice of the Peace Advisory Committee, to which a custos is the chair, and that comprises 3 other persons: a judge, a police officer, and a person nominated by the Minister of Justice. That committee will assess the application and make a recommendation to the Minister of Justice to say that this applicant is suitable to be considered for the office of Justice of the Peace. The Minister will then make a recommendation to the Governor General for that person's appointment.
But before the minister makes a recommendation to the Governor General,
the applicants are required to complete a training program at the Justice Training Institute. It is 18 hours contact to introduce them to the Office of Justice of the Peace and the requisite legislations that they will have to be mindful of that empowers them to carry out their functions.
becoming a Justice of the Peace is a process that requires dedication, integrity, and a commitment to serving the community. Even with an expunged record, the opportunity to serve in this esteemed role is still within reach. Your past does not have to dictate your future.
Jamaica, the land of wood and water. Preserving the rich history of our island's natural bounty is centered on the core ideal of sustainability. So, with every precious drop of rainfall harvested into the beautiful canopy of the island, increasing the urgency to safeguard our water sources is everyone's responsibility. An area of land that allows for the drainage of rainwater into a common place like a pond or river is known as a watershed. Now, you may live near a river or drink the water from a bottle, but how much do you know about watersheds and their life-giving role? There are over 100 rivers making up Jamaica's watersheds. These rivers are critical resources to the ecosystem of the land, while empowering our economy. The National Environment and Planning Agency NEPA manages Jamaica's 26 Watershed Management Units WMUs in partnership with key governmental agencies such as the Rural Agricultural Development Authority RADA, the Forestry Department, the Water Resources Authority, and other partners. There is one major factor to note in the protection of watersheds, and it's the delicate balance of the communities who earn a living from these areas through agriculture.
So we try to take a bottom-up approach to watershed management. Now that will involve liaising with the communities, getting their inputs prior to going into any given watershed with any intervention. You have to do what we consider to be an assessment of the needs of the community, separate and apart from an assessment of the needs of the watershed prior to going in and doing our interventions.
This approach forms part of the integrated watershed and coastal area management model, which takes into consideration the community's views. Under the Watersheds Protection Act of 1963, watershed areas are declared and regulated to conserve the water resources, while allowing residents to gain from popular land economic activities such as farming.
You do have complementary acts that would speak to watershed management. So you have, for example, the RADA Act of 1990 that will allow for the use of extension services, which translate into watershed management as the use of sustainable land management practices with the farmers.
There are 7 other pieces of legislation that support the Major Watersheds Protection Act. Finding the balance between benefiting from the resources in watersheds and preventing its degradation is continuous work by the environmental authorities. Jamaica's international ranking as a strong and actions-based drive of environmental protection is steadily growing. A Jamaican Path from Hills to Ocean project is the latest initiative to restore 3 major watersheds across the island in the next 5 years. The $1.05 billion Jamaican dollar project is a joint partnership between the government and the European Union, executed by the Planning Institute of Jamaica in support of NEPA and RADA.
So the rapid ecological assessment is expected to inform some of the project activities that will help with the RADA-led components in identifying some areas that will be prioritized for intervention, and those priority will be for trainings for farmers and other techniques that would help with the overall watershed management. The Cassiton Botanical Garden is one particular location within one of the watershed management units that would benefit mostly from some of these activities.
Work will also be done on 2 wetland ecosystems, Winds Morass in Trelawney and the Mason River Protected Area on the border of St. Anne and Clarendon.
And those activities would help with the overall preservation and conservation of those 2 wetland areas to stem or kind of address some of the challenges we are currently facing with issues of encroachment or solid waste deposits, and also the general sensitization through the use of signage and public education.
The project will also flow into the protection of Jamaica's marine life.
So the assessment of seagrass, the health and distribution of seagrass beds within the Ocherius Marine Park and the Helsha, Half Moon Bay area will also be assessed, so we can see if the activities implemented over the 5-year period would have helped with the health or the general health of the marine environment in these areas.
Don't waste water. Turn on your tap at half blast. Plant a tree. The more, the better. Do not litter. Proper waste disposal prevents your garbage from getting into our rivers and streams. Be environmentally friendly. Get involved and help protect the earth. The work to protect our watersheds aligns with Jamaica's signatory to the Paris Agreement on Climate Change to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Equivalently, our Vision 2030 national plan also prioritizes balancing sustainable use of the environment and reducing poverty. Through climate-smart steps to better use the lands and the hills of our watersheds and reduce the degradation of our coastlines, the value of protecting Jamaica's watersheds today will pay the price for securing the future of the island. Our half-hour journey through the pages of Jamaica Magazine ends right here for today. But please join us again tomorrow on this station for more news, features, and information you can use. In the meantime, visit our website, jis.gov.jm for this and other offerings. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry. Take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.